Do it. So slope from 2 points. We could still use the skill set that we learned yesterday. You could plot these 2 points, which you're doing right now. Will, put your computer away for now, please. Josie and Sam, will you guys close your computers for now, please? Plot these 2 points. Use your graph. Plot these 2 points and find the slope. Simplified, right? So I'd have 3, 4, and -1, -6. There's my line, right? And then I'm going to count the slope, rise over run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 over 4 would simplify to 5 over 2. So you can find your slope. But that seems like kind of a pain, because has anyone looked at the homework tonight?
Yes.
Did I give you any graphs? No. So you're going to have to draw a graph for every single one?
Just draw one.
I mean, you could just draw one, but still.
And then every time you do another one, you just erase it.
So here's the news. When you have 2 ordered pairs, 2 points, you don't need to graph it. There's a formula we can use. Because you guys, yesterday we talked about slope, which is constant of proportionality, which is rise over run. I get it. If you have a visual, if you have a graph, it's rise over run. But what's the formula for slope? Yes, rise over run. That's not what I'm asking. What's the formula for constant of proportionality? What's the formula for slope? Change in y over change in x. What operation, what mathematical operation tells you change? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. What mathematical operation helps you find the change in something, Brooke? Subtract. So what that means, the change in y, is that I'm going to do y minus y and x minus x. So when you have slope from 2 points, and I'm going to color code the life out of this so that you can visually see what that means. Because y minus y, I don't know, which one do I do? Which minus which? X minus x, which one do I mean? Right? It's hard to tell. So here's the formula, the way that it would look if you looked it up online. All right, here's your formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if I gave you those ordered pairs, 3, 4, and -1, -6, y2 means the y from the second ordered pair. And y1 means the y from the first ordered pair. So my numerator for these ordered pairs would be -6, always minus because it's the change in y, so -6 minus, and the y from the first ordered pair is 4. over, what does x2 mean? X from the second ordered pair, so that's -1, minus, because it's the change, and x1 in this problem is 3. What's -6 minus 4? -6 minus 4 is -10 over, what's -1 minus 3? -4. Two negatives make a positive, right? And 10 over 4 simplifies to 5/2. Now, some of you may be saying, Mrs. Long, like, how do I know which one's the second one, which one's the first one? This is the first one. Guess why this is the first one? Because it comes first. This one's the second one. Guess why it's the second one? Because it comes second. But you know what happens? You could do y1 minus y2 and x1 minus x2. It really doesn't matter the order that you subtract as long as you subtract in that order every time. So if you did 4 minus -6, 4 minus -6, y minus y, over 3 minus -1, what's 4 minus -6? 10. And what's 3 minus -1?
4.
And 10 over 4 simplifies to 5/2. What you have to be aware of is if you start with this y right here, you have to start with this x right here. If you start with this one, this y minus y, you have to do this x minus x. You cannot pick and choose which one you use first. So you need to decide right now, what rule will you follow? Are you going to do what the formula says, which is y from the second one minus the y from the first one over the x from the second one minus the x from the first one? Then do it. Or, because your brain thinks I'm just going to do the first y minus the second y and the first x minus the second x, no matter what it looks like, you have to do the same way every time. Because if Ben does the second minus the first and the second minus the first, and Lily does the first minus the second and the first minus the second, every single time they will get the same answer no matter what. But if Mrs. Newer, sorry Mrs. Newer, I didn't want to make somebody the scapegoat. If Mrs. Newer does y2 minus y1, and then she decides to do x1 minus x2, she will be wrong. You have to always start with the same ordered pair. It's change in y over change in x. Y minus y over x minus x. In the same order every time. Glue this here. Try those 4 problems. This is what your homework is about. You do not have to put a graph on your paper. All you're doing is subtracting.